Hey guys, I recently built an AMD Ryzen 5 1600X build. Absolutely amazing computer. And we're going to go through some basic stuff, the specifications of each part. We're going to go through Cinebench scores, Geekbench 4 scores. We're even going to go through the Unity Heaven and Valley scores, mainly because why not? And we're even going to go into cooling, like how I cooled this magnificent beast. Alright, on to computer specification. It's fairly simple. It's a Ryzen 5 1600X. I did not overclock because this board, in all honesty, the BIOS it has now is just not fun to overclock with. And in all honesty, even when I did try, I got 3.9 gigahertz. I only got a very small amount better because most games I play anywhere are single core dependent, so in reality it doesn't matter for me. So we have a motherboard of Gigabyte AX370 Gaming K5. I should have got the Gaming 5 in general. In all honesty, it's a lot better. Gigabyte GTX 1066 gigabyte, that is overclocked to 2101 megahertz on the core and 4550 I think on the memory, so about 9100 stable. That's pretty good. A Roswell Photon 750 watt fully modular power supply, fairly simple, 80 plus gold rated, pretty great. The LED lighting inside, a lot of people ask what kind of lighting it is, and it's the NZXT Hue Plus. For what it is, it's fairly expensive, but you get a lot of customization, a lot of different colors with the shit, so I love it. The cooler is an NH-D15 SE AM4 Special Edition. It's specifically made for AM4. Absolutely beast cooler. You'll see it fairly soon in the cooling section of this video. Alright, moving on to Cinebench scores. Back on my old FX8050 that I overclocked to 4.8 gigahertz at 1.42 volts. Yeah, a lot of voltage going through it. It only got about 622 to 630. On the Cinebench score for the Ryzen 5 1600X, at stock, mind you, gets around 1180 to 1213. It really depends on what's going on in the background, so I can't really get it to do the same thing over and over again. Moving on to Geekbench 4. Geekbench 4, there's a huge difference in single core. I am getting double the single core performance on a Ryzen 5 1600X compared to the FX8050. Because I noticed a lot of people were like, oh my god, no, Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 7 aren't going to compete with Intel single core performance. Same as Ryzen 3. In all honesty, I realized the 7700K gets a score of like 5300, I think, in single core speed, or 60, even 6000 sometimes. I don't need that, really. I don't plan on playing games that are so CPU intensive I need that. Like in GTA 5, for example, I'm doing fairly well on a 1060. I think on a 1080 I might have some issues, but that's about it, really. But then, if I have a 1080, I'm not going to play it at 1080p. I'm going to play at 1440p or 4K. But so forth. Okay, so the FX8050 at 4.8 GHz once again. Single core speed at 2246. Multi-core at 10,655. Sorry about that. Ryzen 5 1600X at stock. 4260 single core and 19383 in multi-core. Pretty great, in my opinion. So in Unity Heaven 4.0, fairly simple, DirectX 11, quality set to Ultra, tessellation extreme, anti-aliasing X8, and resolution 1080p. Fairly standard. The score we got was 1746 with 69.3 average FPS. Ignore the minimum FPS, and max FPS got 142.3. And this is running on the latest drivers, by the way. Unity Valley, we did basically the same thing with quality Ultra, DirectX 11, and anti-aliasing X8 at 1080p. We got a score of 2883, an average FPS of 68.9, a minimum FPS of 23.1, and a max FPS of 138.2. Once again, on the latest drivers. So cooling this amazing computer is fairly simple. It's a Noctua NH-D15. In reality, we only hit around 700 to 500 RPM on our fans. So we have two fans. These are Noctua 140mm fans. And we hit a max of about 58 degrees. This is about doing IDA 64 by the way. We hit a max of 58 degrees, a minimum of 33, so that's what was idle, and an average of about 42, which, in my opinion, on air for 6 cores, 12 threads, used on IDA 64, that's extremely good. That's amazing. And our CPU V-core only hit about 1 point, for some odd reason, on the 1600X, I find it weird how my V-core will boost up to 1.524 out of nowhere. But the reason why is because I have such good cooling. It's doing the XFR boost to 4.1 gigahertz on the first 2 or 4 cores, I think. I can't remember which, if it's 2 or 4. But it does that, so it allows the V core to go up. So in all honesty, I ignore that because I don't think that's realistic. That doesn't happen very often. Average about 1.3 on the V core, so it's pretty good, in my opinion. And for other cooling, we have two fractal design fans on the top running at about 700 RPM. These are all PWM controlled, by the way, with the Gigabyte Smart Fan 5 program. Fairly amazing program. I might have an in-depth review of that program fairly soon. A Noctua a Noctua NFA 14. It's a 140mm Noctua fan. It's a very, very good fan. That's running at 600 RPM. And then we have three stock NZXT H440 fans. Those are in the front. There's three of 140s. Those are running at about 500 RPM as well. I have it all very, very slow. Because in all honesty, I don't need it loud, and I'm having good temperatures with it being nice and quiet. So, and our 1060, unfortunately, the 1060 that I have, unfortunately, has a really shitty cooler. I might actually replace the thermal paste fairly soon, to be honest. I have some Noctua stuff that is a lot better than the stock paste that's on the Gigabyte 1060. So we hit about 71 degrees on full load on 1060, which is not really that bad, let's be honest. 71 is pretty good, but personally I find that's too high. In Witcher 3, I don't mind hitting that. In Overwatch, I do kind of mind hitting that. And in CSGO, I don't even hit that at all. I hit to like 37 degrees because, in all honesty, that's a very CPU-intensive game. And GTA 5, I hit 71 as well. It really depends on the game and how hot the actual core gets, but 71 is still fairly good. Alright, I hope you guys liked that video. I tried to do a little better on it. I was hoping it sounded a little bit better this time around. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time.